Oh, that looks absolutely delicious. Now, we've seen and heard it all before. The opportunity of a lifetime or get quadruple-digit returns. All of these empty lures that promise to help us get rich quick. Now, what we probably haven't heard before is that millions of people have lost their lifetime savings to pyramid and Ponzi schemes alike. We have SABRIC, Head of Relationship Management, Susan Porchita here, to help us identify some of the most obvious signs of these types of scams. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Wonderful to have you here. Now, what is the difference between, Ponzi and pyramid schemes? What do they each mean?
Right. They're both high-yield investment scams, but there is a difference. In the case of pyramids, you as the investor are expected to do something as well. And generally, you're expected to bring in more investors. And how they're structured is that you get rewarded for all the extra investors that you bring along. So there's an incentive for people to get, to involve family and friends and their club and so forth. And then everybody at the end of the day gets involved. And then unfortunately, when it collapses, everybody loses. In the case of Ponzi, slightly different. You're not expected to actually work. What you do is you invest the money. But what happens there is, as soon as the pool of new investors diminishes, then there isn't money to actually pay the original investors, some returns. So they also collapse eventually.
But now a lot of these criminals are dressed in suits because, Wall Street collapsed because of Ponzi schemes. So how can we protect ourselves from getting involved in things like this? Because often it looks like a very sound investment.
So I think the first rule is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. So if you think about it, why would the formal financial services sector not offer those products if they were so reliable and so good? So be very, very cautious if you are offered very, very high percentage returns.
It's like gambling, essentially.
It's just a way, everybody wants to get rich quickly, so your greed is actually exploited. So be careful of, promises of very, very high returns. That is more than what you would get in the formal sector. Be careful if there's a sense of urgency. You've heard these ads. Get in now and make sure that you actually benefit from this particular scheme while it's new and so forth. That's also definitely a red flag.
This is in pyramid schemes?
Well, yes.
Ponzi's as well?
Well, both of them, there's always a little bit of a sense of urgency. And then something that's also a trend and a thread right across all of them is when you start delving into how does the scheme work, very often the promoter is quite secretive about it and the information isn't forthcoming. Now, that's also a warning sign.
So none of these Ponzi or pyramid schemes are, that can't happen to us from formal financial institutions?
Absolutely, because they're well regulated. So there are rules and regulations that everybody's got to comply with, and it's exactly that is often used in the marketing of pyramid schemes. The promoter will say, we're not bound or locked into all of these formalities. We are able to make it easy for you. And then, of course, they use social media. And
how do they use social media to catch you?
For marketing, and they rely on you as the investor, if you believe the promises, to actually spread the word amongst your circle of friends.
So is that when you get those emails to invest with them?
And people share and circulate and so forth. And there's been a trend as well where they actually say, this is how you don't attract attention, within the formal banking sector. And there's been a drive to push them towards cryptocurrency as well, because these promoters don't want to be detected. And they know that the banks monitor for these kind of behaviors. So it's actually quite an interesting dynamic to see how social media has been a game changer in pyramid schemes.
And if I invest in a pyramid scheme, it's not illegal, but I will just lose all my money.
Well, it's probably, if you unpack the pyramid scheme, it's probably going to be a contravention of a whole lot of the regulation and rules that the financial sector has to comply with. But you as the investor putting in money in good faith, you haven't done anything wrong, but you need to understand that you're not going to be protected. You're probably going to lose that money when it collapses.
Wow. Thank you so much for clearing all of this up. It's such a vital need for us to be savvy with our money, because I think there's so many ways for us to be hoodwinked and robbed. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much for teaching us.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to the internet, just about anything is on offer, including finding the love of your life. Apparently. There are thousands of dating sites that promise happily ever afters. But like every good fairy tale, there is always a villain, and online predators are always on the prowl for the next victim. Tune in next week to find out more from Susan about how to identify and avoid romance schemes altogether.
We are brave, innovative, everywhere. We are SABRIC.